says here we should work in teams. I tend to think of myself as a one-man wolf pack.
You are about to enter information overload, a worldwide transmission with Herp Herp Hooray!'s featured Breeder of the Week. Here's your host, Jason Rossi.
Welcome back to Herp Herp Hooray!, a weekly worldwide transmission. I'm your host, Jason Rossi. We are simulcasting on RossiReptiles.com, Buzzsprout, and don't forget to subscribe and download us on iTunes. This week's featured Breeder of the Week is another personal friend of mine. I met him a few expos that we frequent, even have a couple of his offspring. He also just created an amazing animal called the Ocelot Borneo, which seems to be a new line. Calling us from the heart of the city of brotherly love, I'm pleased to announce Matt Minetola from PhillyHerp.com. Matt, welcome to Herp Herp Hooray!
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. And I appreciate you building that beautiful website you got for me. It was in the making for so long because of me, promising people that it would be up, and you finally deal with my crap and got it going for me. So my hat's off to you for dealing with all my slow stuff. So thanks a lot.
Not a problem. For those who don't know, I built Matt's website for him over at PhillyHerp.com. Just go check it out, see what he's got going on. He's got a lot of stuff going on. It's crazy over there. But how surprised were you popped out that first Ocelot Borneo, man? Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Yeah, I was pretty stunned. I definitely didn't expect that. These were they were Sib stripes that I bought years ago. I got the original pair, or the original two females in '05 from Hamburg, just from the Reptile Addicts in the back. They were pretty cheap. Seen them, scooped them up. Started raising them up. The next year I grabbed two more, which I believe were males. They said they were males, but only one of them turned out to be that way. Never really thought to breed them together. I like to mix it up, and I don't mind line breeding. I do it quite often, but I never thought to throw all the same genetics together. I was mixing them with other things, and actually last year a guy named Jordan Botto had the same animals from the same line. He got off a guy, BC, who used to be real big, and he produced a few animals that were crazy looking, not quite as extreme as the things I think I produced from what I've seen, but some pretty crazy ones, and he got out of it and sold the whole project out. So I was like, let me toss mine together and see what happens. I feel like mine were a little better looking, and sure enough, I put the one male from that line with both females from their sisters from the same line, and out came these crazy-looking Borneos that were, like, they just blew my mind. Out of the egg, they were, like, almost pure white, and I was stunned, and everything else that came out was pretty much super striped, and the genetic stripes that came out of it were smoking, crazy colors. I was just stunned, I couldn't believe it. I was just like, then I was obviously so nervous that everything was going to make it as usual, even though it always does, but, just that nerves of having something so awesome. I'm like, oh, something's going to happen. So I was just stunned.
So I see you're going to be labeling them as possets. Is this a recessive project, you're thinking?
When it comes to Borneo short-tailed pythons, the genetics are all over the place. It's not like red blood pythons. They're pretty, everything's pretty much a recessive. Golden eyes are a co-dominant. With Borneos, the genetics are just so wacky, and there's no way to describe them. I mean, honestly, with Borneos, even marbles have been out for so long, and I don't think anyone's quite got the genetics hammered down yet. Some people think they're recessive. Some people think they're dominant trait. But I got them labeled as possets because the animals that I have look nothing like the animal I'm actually calling an ocelot. They look nothing like that. They look like the male's a super stripe, and the one female I was calling it a leopard forever, and the other female is pretty much a really killer-looking genetic stripe with wacky colors to it. So I'm pretty positive when you breed the super stripes and the genetic stripes back together, you're going to see some ocelots. I just don't know how much you're going to see. So as of right now, I just got to label them as possets, and it makes the project pretty confusing and hard to explain. It's one of them things where I could have got crazy and priced them really high this year, but being until I don't know what the project exactly is yet, I kept it, I feel, pretty fair in how I priced them. And it's a chance that, after next year I'm going to try to produce more, obviously, and do a couple different things because I have a few different ways I can go. I'll know a little bit more about the project, and it could actually possibly go up or stay the same. I'm sure I'll have a lot more figured out by next year. But as of right now, the way Borneo genetics work is kind of crazy, and it goes like that for like Ghost and Lattes and Ultras. They're all kind of the same thing, and I feel like the Ocelot seems to fall in line with them, sort of, as of right now, the way I see them. And it just seems that the better the animals you breed together, you get even better stuff. And it seems to not even have bottomed out yet, because Keith McPeak is a good friend of mine. He originated the Ghost Borneos, and he breeds them every season. And every season it seems like he gets a new look and color, and it just never seems to bottom out. And like he tops the projects every single year. And I'm hoping the Ocelot Borneo follows the same way when one of them Ocelots and breed it to a super stripe that came from that line, or even another Ocelot, that I'm just going to get even more smoke and stuff.
So why don't you tell our listeners the difference between Bloods and short-tailed Borneos? Is it just different locale, or are they different species totally?
Yeah, pretty much there's three different subspecies. You have your Borneo, you have three different species now that were subspecies. You have your Borneo short-tailed pythons, which are from the island of Borneo. You have your red blood pythons, which generally all come from Sumatra now. They used to come from Malaysia way back in the day. I think, they're still there, obviously. They just don't import them from there anymore. And then you have your black blood pythons, which you have, they come from Sumatra as well. There are two different types of black blood pythons pretty much now. There are your blacks or blacks with chrome heads. They seem to be from a different part of the island as your other black bloods, which are orange-headed blacks, but they're both from Sumatra. I'm not too keen on the black blood thing. I got rid of my black bloods and didn't keep up too much with them. But they're your three different species from there, and all have different colors, similar patterns, and they all do a few different things. Like Borneo short-tailed pythons, they lay larger clutches of smaller eggs, where your red blood pythons, they lay smaller clutches of bigger eggs. Both can give you a ton of eggs, but I would say, usually out of my Borneos, I'd say like average of 18 to 25. I have gotten like 36 before, and I hear with red bloods in the beginning you see maybe 8 to 12, and as they get older you see, 12 to 15, and you can possibly even get up into the 18s and the 20s. But for Borneo short-tails, it's pretty normal to get about 20 eggs. Kind of rambled off there, sorry. You were asking about the three different species, and I kind of took it over to eggs. I tend to do that. I'm sorry, I ramble a lot.
That was my next question, so you must have been psychic, but let me back it up. So what are your future plans for that Ocelot?
Ocelot, well, being until I told you I had the two females I bought in 05, and then I thought I bought two males in 06. Well, the one turned out to be a female, which I found out this year. I used that animal as a male last year and was like, man, this thing's big enough, old enough. He's not touching anything. So I had a marble male that was one of my holdbacks sitting on the shelf, and he was dying to breed, and I didn't use him all season. So late into my breeding season, I tossed him in with what I thought, which I bought as a male, but thought it was a female. Turns out they locked up within an hour, and actually them eggs just hatched. So I have actually a jump start on a marble, half marble, half Ocelot line, hopefully. So I'm going to have to hold back even more. But I basically have three females that are all ready to go and the one male. So I plan on breeding that male to two of the Ocelots again, and I think I might take a Ghost stripe from Keith McPeak's line and breed it to my other Ocelot girl to see what happens there, because it seems like the Ocelot gene seems to fall, like I said, in line of Ghost, Latte, and Ultra. They all seem to, Ghost, Latte, and Ultra all seem to be very similar but kind of different, and it's all because of they all started with different breeders, I'm guessing, and they went different ways with it, so we'll see what happens.
So you breed ball pythons too, so why don't you give us some of the cool projects you got going on over there?